Is there something you like to paint over other things, like a image or something?
No, I do find that I do a lot of feminine stuff. I do a lot of feminine stuff, and it seems to be a lot of emotion in it. And I know that comes from probably some stuff that I haven't, because I didn't notice at first, but after a while, I just started painting just for myself, not for people. And every one of my paintings I looked at, like, all of them look beautiful, but there's some sadness, there's some pain, or there's some emotion, whatever that is. And when people start to ask me about it, I'm like, yeah, so I'm painting from somewhere, which is cool because that's what people buy into.
Yeah.
They want that connection of whatever you had going on when you produce it. And I guess that is a part of the whole fulfillment too of getting that stuff out. Even if that's the result of what ends up on the canvas is some pain or whatever, but it's out in that moment.
Two of my favorite artists are Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder. And Marvin Gaye is my pain dude. He's the dude who I use when I want to tap into my pain. And pain is something that I'm way more familiar with and comfortable with than love, way more.
Why do you want to tap into your pain? And I'm not saying, because I never heard somebody say that, but that's what we do.
It's the value that I give the pain. Pain in and of itself isn't bad. It's what I tell myself about the pain that makes it bad. There's a lot that you can learn when you embrace it and understand it and shift your relationship to it that I didn't understand. And there's a reason why I gravitate towards it. And I've always gravitated towards it. Maybe it's the way I was raised as a kid. Maybe my experiences as a child has made me super receptive to that part of life experience. And rather than try to cut it off, like I've been trying to do, or ignore it, or act like it doesn't exist, why not lean, as opposed to turning away from that motherfucker, why not turn all the way back, look at that shit for exactly what it is, and just be like, okay, I see you. And in the moments when I have done that, what I've learned is that love is there too. And so I've gotten better at embracing the pain and not labeling it bad. So that's why I do it.
Okay.
What?
So I'm just listening, and when you said you're able to, and that's a great ability when you said I'm able to go smack at it versus labeling the pain as bad. As you was talking, I'm thinking of certain situations that still bother me to this day that may have happened when I was a little girl or a teenager or a young adult. And when I try to say, okay, just go do what you just explained you do, like I said earlier, I try to understand it first. And I guess so I can forgive whoever inflicted that pain. And the understanding of maybe whatever their reasons were or whatever, and you said you found love there, and I'm like, but I'm not there. Like, I can forgive, but I'm like, still, why me? Or what was the reason? Certain people I have been able to forgive, whether I made them aware or not, but then I keep revisiting it.
Yeah.
Then I'm back to square one. So I'm like, am I thoroughly forgiving them, or am I just saying it to think that it's just going to go away and I'll be able to manage better? But I'm like, maybe I'm not forgiving like I think I am, or I don't know. It's just weird. Like I can be good for a certain X amount of time, and then it could be something maybe that triggers. Maybe I see something on TV. Maybe somebody may say something that makes me think. Whatever it is, I'm back to that, like, why did you do that to me, sort of thing.
And the love that is there is the love for self. And the forgiveness for me is the forgiveness of self. I used to tell myself that what happened to me was me and was because of me when I would look at that pain when I was younger. Oh, that had to happen to me because it was all in my head some way, shape, or form, a reflection of me and not anything else. So, because it happened to me subconsciously somewhere, I felt like I may have deserved it. Now, this is the mind of a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, not fully understanding. So if something happens to you when you're 12, at least for me and my understanding of what happened, what's going on with me, you go up to a certain point and you're 12 and then something happens to you. You might get older in like motherfucking years, but that 12-year-old had to start cutting shit off so to survive. And so as I got older, that 12-year-old stayed behind. And so the 45, 46-year-old James had to start going back. And I learned this through a therapy session. I had to go love him. That's how I had to get him out. And I'm using these terms very loosely, and so forgive me if some of it doesn't make sense. I don't know any way really other than to describe it, but I had to go love that 12-year-old boy and let him know that it wasn't him. There was nobody else really there to say that. And so I had to go back and tell him, but I couldn't just grab him and bring him along. I had to go actually acknowledge him and the things that happened in that moment. And that's where the love is when that act takes place.
Okay, so that you just made something make sense, or like kind of, I can understand it more now in a sense of, to a degree, when I got to be like, I guess like my late teenage years, I did not like, I kind of hated being like attractive because of the attention, the unwanted attention, and the being as though moments that made me very uncomfortable came from people who are supposed to be protecting me, supposed to be close to me. So when you're dealing with it that close, I mean, you get to, walking down the street, somebody hollering and all, you can deal with that. But when you get it from somewhere where you're not supposed to get it from, it makes it that much worse. And of course, I never walked around saying, "Oh, I wish I was ugly," or I don't even want to say ugly, but I was. But for me, I did. I just wish I could take off some of the stuff, and a person might hear me talk like this, like, "Oh, that's bullshit," or no, it's really not. And I know I'm not the only woman or person that feels that way. The whole being light skinned, the whole just the whole having a certain shape, all of that, what people may think is flattering or whatever, when you've had things done to you because of that, that's why I'm not a person that walks around boasting or acting a certain way. I'm not prissy. I'm not, oh, here I go. I'm kind of like how I'm talking to you that's my personality more so. It's not, I'm here, I don't need it. And I don't even know if it came from that. It probably did. And I always wondered, like, people, you so when people say, "Oh, I didn't think you would be this cool," or, "Oh, okay," what you really mean to say is you think that I'm going to be a certain way because of what people are used to women portraying to be a certain way because of their attributes and all that. It's like, "Oh, you really cool." Yeah, I don't need that. I don't even want it, And so when I was, a young teenager, I hated it, and from the source that it came from, it was disgusting, some of the things that was said to me and done to me. And I always looked at that as, like you said, kind of like it's my fault because of the way I look type of thing, when that's ridiculous. So now as an adult, I can say when I look back at those situations, no, of course not, it wasn't your fault. That was that's that person's shit. I'm happy to have whatever God gave me. I can accept that now. I embrace that now. So I guess that is that going back to that young teenager, like, no, that you ain't had nothing to do with that. That was their shit. So I'm glad you made that point, because that made me see that time in that same way.